welcome back to Car-Pinionated, our weekly show about cars, the car industry, and driving in general. I'm Doug Stewart, Senior Digital Content Producer at Fox 61 in Hartford, and this is my friend Glenn Packman, and he is an improv comedy genius. So tonight we are going to talk about two new vehicles, both with storied names, if you were, history behind them. Um, some of the history is a little bit challenging. But the first one we're going to talk about is we're going to go with the Jeep EV. And the Jeep Wagoneer EV is obviously an electric vehicle, and it is Jeep's first fully electric vehicle. Of course, they had the um, Wrangler hybrid, plug-in hybrid. They've had that for a little while. But this is a whole new car on a whole new platform, and it is one sharp-looking vehicle.
It is. It is. It's almost as if they took a couple design hints from Lucid
Yeah,
and just jacked it up and made it a big old SUV instead of a swanky sedan. I see a little bit of that influence there.
yeah.
But I think they're keeping their history and their language in the car, which is a great idea because Wagoneer, Cherokee, etc. Always a sharp car. Why ruin it?
Mhm.
So this is both a throwback to their previous stuff and a look to the future at the same time, which is always a good idea, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting because this, I think, this shows the pictures that we see show the Jeep name on it, and the
Mhm.
Wagoneer that they've produced for the past couple of years does not have the Jeep name on it. It just says Wagoneer or Grand Wagoneer.
Hmm.
Um, but so anyway, and you're right, they keep the Jeep styling cues up front with the slotted grille, and it doesn't look, and I don't know where I can put my fingers on it quickly. It doesn't look like it has a whole bunch of ground clearance, and that may be one of those things that can change with various settings in the car. The price that they list on the website is $71,000, which, okay, for a luxury SUV of
Hmm.
the EV variety, that doesn't seem like a bad price. Um, but it's definitely, I mean, you don't mistake it for anything else but a Jeep,
Right,
you
right.
know? Uh,
Even though they've done this funky electric thing on the front, it's still very Jeepy.
mhm.
That's a new adjective I just made up. Jeep.
uh,
No, it's definitely. I mean, it's an interesting display on the front, but
mhm.
it harkens back again to Jeep's design language, which is very smart. We love the Jeep design language. That's my favorite part about the Jeep. I hope that they follow suit with the interior. I've always had a little bit of issue with Jeep's interiors being kind of stocky, blocky,
Mhm.
chunky, and a little old-fashioned, a little staid in my book. So, not that I want them to do anything too wild, but it would be nice for them to do the same thing, carry a Jeep feeling through, but still look forward in regards to design.
What I can see on the interior pictures is that
Mhm.
it has a very similar dashboard instrument panel to the Wagoneer. So a screen in front of the driver, kind of a traditional look, and then a center screen, and then a screen in front of the passenger that is probably designed so the driver can't see it,
Mhm.
with polarized glass or something like that, and then a secondary screen below the center stack that looks like it's designed to do HVAC and all that stuff. from what I can see, it looks like there is um, a round knob to select the gear.
Right.
And we talked about this in the Jeep, at one point had a very odd um, thing. And what I realized after we aired that episode is that not long after the 2014 model year or so, they went back to the more traditional style,
Mm,
for what it's worth. Um, but that they're putting out the launch edition. It's the Wagoneer S.
mhm.
Um, it comes in various dull colors, well, like most cars these days.
Right.
There's one red that's like a dark red, and okay, there's a blue that's a very dull blue. What's the deal with car colors? I mean, there's
Yeah,
almost nothing.
we need to devote an entire episode to how much I detest the flat gray gunmetal
Yeah.
color that everything comes in nowadays. It's just, anyways. Um, yeah, I could go on ad nauseum about how much I just don't care for that.
I think I remember when I worked for the car rental company and we bought some Tauruses of the first generation Taurus, and maybe they were sables. In any case, they all came in the same color, and I felt like they were taupe, medium taupe, and dark taupe. And taupe is apparently French for that's a really boring color.
There you
Um,
go.
and and there was a red, I think there was a blue, but like most of them came in like blue. Anyway,
Yeah, to take on Henry Ford, you can get the car in whatever color you want as long as it's taupe with them. That being
yeah,
said, our last generation Sorrento was in a taupe metallic color. It was very different from anything on the road. It wasn't real flashy, but it was a nice color. It was closer to a silver, like a
yeah.
beige and silver had a love child, but it was a sharp.
Uh,
Yeah,
my
bright colors.
my um Dodge Shadow was something called driftwood, and it was you looked at it and it was silver, and then some days you looked at it and it was tan. It was just that like weathered wood driftwood,
Mhm.
and was a perfect name for it. It was nice. It chipped and flaked after a couple of years, but yeah,
Oh, yeah,
like most cars in the 90s, that's what happened to it.
right.
Anyway, so yeah, this Jeep looks pretty sharp. Um, I'm wondering, I'm looking at the back, trying to figure out the back and if there's a wiper on the back, and which I think is one of those things that it doesn't look like there is. It
Yeah,
looks like it looks like it sort of it's got a much more tapered rear than what it looks like from the side.
right.
Because the rear window is a much deeper angle
Mhm.
than what it appears like it might be. But it's got a nice, Land Rover upscale, that top,
Mm.
Range Rover sort of design to it.
Mhm.
Uh,
My question is, what they call it a mid-size, so like what size class is this going up against?
um, okay,
What's
well,
going to be
that
the competition?
uh, if I were to guess, um, I would say in their own product line, the Grand Cherokee.
Mhm.
Because if you consider the Wagoneer, like the big full size, right?
Mhm.
And then the Grand Cherokee, and then um, the Cherokee slots below that, although they don't make the Cherokee anymore.
I pulled up an interesting article from Motor Trend, and it says the two-row smaller SUV, and they say it's mid-size and that it's going to be small, slightly smaller than a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Mhm,
So an interesting size class.
mhm.
I'm anxious to see it just for that because we seem to be pushing back into the bigger the better mode again.
Yeah,
And
I just, somebody I know was like, well, we're looking for a car because we just had a kid and we're looking at Tahoes or Suburbans. And I'm like, one kid, two adults in
right,
a Tahoe or a Suburban? Like, yeah, that's way too much. Good if you can afford it, but that's way too much car. As Jeff once said on this very show, buying a car is an emotional decision. And it doesn't always come down to being rational. What anyway? So
true.
moving on here, Infiniti has what they're calling the flagship of their new lineup, the QX80. Now, the last version, the last gen QX80, dates back to roughly the same period of time that the Toyota 4Runner dates back to. So 2010,
Mhm.
2011.
Right.
That's, again, as we mentioned with the 4Runner, it's a long time that things.
Mhm.
They have changed it, they've redesigned it and made it look new and better. Um, over the years because that first one, and I have a picture of it at the New York Auto Show, kind of reminded me of a beluga whale. Um, uh,
Uh,
and I mean that in the
and not in a
nicest
good way.
way. Well, um, and and this is their big class. This
Right.
competes with the Tahoe and the
Right.
to more or less to some degree. I don't know directly the Land Cruiser when it existed or the whatever the Infinity, the biggest Infinity. I'm sorry, the biggest Lexus is. Um,
Right.
but it's still, a 6 or 7 passenger vehicle. But this new one, it's great looking. That's a sharp looking vehicle. It no longer has a V8, has a V6, I think
Mhm.
twin turbos. Um, it should obviously probably should get better gas mileage. It's a new platform. It's what Nissan refers to as their patrol platform, which is the
Mhm.
global name for it. They call, the Nissan version will be the Armada, I believe.
Right.
Um, again, the top of their line too. And it's nice to see Infiniti spending some money on some stuff, to be
Yeah. Yeah.
quite
We did a
honest
whole
with you.
episode about that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, uh, it's again like the Jeep, a squared away design, not
Hmm.
nothing crazy, no swoops on the side. It's got these nice flush door handles. Um, it's I like this current Infinity design language.
Hmm.
I've never been a fan of huge grills, and this has an enormous grill, don't get me wrong,
Does.
but
Yeah.
they've split it nicely in a
Yep.
way that kind of, takes its bulk away. Um, it's interesting how new lighting standards and lighting technology has created a lot of different ways to make front ends different. And you have that eyebrow light up on top,
Mhm.
but the headlights are down in the second level there, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole thing?
Um, there's a few styling cues that I'm not a huge fan of. It does have a big grill, and I'm with
Yeah.
you on the big grill thing. It's excuse me. Let's see, leftover coughing jack. So yeah, it's not the most offensive big grill I've seen. You caught me on tape talking about offensive big grills. It's just it is kind of large. You know, it's doing the boxy thing. I think my biggest thing is, and this is minor, but in the wagon area, going back all
Yeah,
the way to I guess it would be the D pillar. There's a couple little trim things on the side of the car that just I know they're there to just sort of break things up and add a little
yeah.
interest. I think they're my cat is scratching me, excuse me. Hello? What? He's underneath my desk, and every time I move my foot, he thinks it's a game.
Yeah.
So cut it out. I'm on air. Anyways, I was saying, there's a couple of these little you know, design things thrown in that
Yeah.
I think are there to just break things up a little bit. I don't know if they're needed. I'm going to reserve judgment until I see it. My biggest thing is I think that the very back of the car would have benefited from a little bit of angularity on that back window. It seems a little blocky and straight, but not quite like, okay, we're not going to do a blocky straight thing. It's just it's halfway there and halfway not. It's not the Hyundai Santa Fe, which is a very squared off back
Yeah.
end. It's somewhere in between. I think if they just angled that a little bit, that would have given the car a little bit more of an aerodynamic look
And
or a
here's the interesting thing
little sportier.
is that when you look in the interior in the back, it does angle.
Oh, really?
A lot of what that D pillar is solid. And if
Really?
you, yeah, and if you look, I don't know which one you're looking at, but if you look at like an interior of the back, you can
Mhm.
see that sort of kick up, um, what you're talking about, what the outgoing vehicle, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and
I see it here.
which probably means that they're saving that design element for the Armada.
Hmm.
Maybe, I don't know.
Could be.
And but I'm looking at where am I? I'm looking at Motor Trend's pictures, and that Cordovan seat, Cordovan
Hmm.
and black seat. Oh God, I just want to
Yeah.
eat that up.
Yeah. I was going to say, I am a big fan of the interior of this car. It looks like $1 million. I kind of love that they put these really stocky, thick center pieces between the seats in the first and second row.
Yeah,
That's those center consoles are they're really beefy and large,
yeah,
and I kind of like that. That sort of creates four little pods. You know,
yeah,
it reminds me of flying business class where you've got your own little your own little compartment. I mean,
yeah,
why not put that in a car? And we
yeah,
always need space and we always need stuff. And, so this has not only a center console, but a double-sized one so that the passenger has a spot to put crap. And
yeah,
how great is that, But
yeah.
you're absolutely right about the color and the quality level of what I'm
Yeah,
seeing in these
it looks
pictures is
really, yeah,
really nice. Yeah.
yeah,
So I have a feeling that the ride is going to be super comfortable.
yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of like LED lighting accents, which
right.
is very cool. Although I'm looking at them in sort of a pinkish purple color. Um, we could do something else other than that, but
Um,
yeah, some really nice details in this. So I'm way more excited about the interior than the exterior.
yeah.
Uh, but I'm going to reserve judgment until oh, and I pulled up a picture that says left seat massage. You can get optional massage on your chair. Then well,
Well,
that's
frankly, you can get a lot of those cars because those vehicles because it tops out at like $112,000,
right, right,
you
right.
know, and it
But if I had a job where I was on the road for huge amounts of time, I might consider buying something that had built-in massage.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I it's uh it doesn't have the Wagoneer has the screens all the way across the dash. And I
Mhm.
think there's a one of the Cadillacs, I could be wrong, has that same like it's a Lincoln. The Lincoln has the screen from one end to the other. Um
Right.
and and so you can change what's up. But I like the swoopiness of that dashboard.
Yeah.
That's really charming.
Right.
Um
They have a photo here with all three rows down, and that is a lot of space.
yeah.
Not that I think anybody's going to be buying this car to haul stuff, but you know, that's the downside of having something that hauls a lot of stuff, is that it's going to get ruined back there,
Yeah, yeah,
as you put in lumber and you're scratching up your interior,
yeah.
it's just the way it goes. So
That's at this price point, you have an F-150.
yeah, there you go. Car for hauling stuff, and then
Stuff,
one for the
lots
family.
of stuff.
Yeah. Looks like it has a decent sized third row too, which is really, there's
Yeah,
room for three in the third row.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever want to punish anybody that badly, but they
Well,
come along
when
with
you
the
were
third row.
talking about having the two seats, it's like now the kids are far enough apart so they can't be. He's touching me.
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Not that we've ever witnessed any of that. No.
No, 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 no,
Lived
no.
through that. Come on. That was
Yeah,
me and my siblings when I was a kid.
yeah.
But yeah, I kind of dig the interior. I'm gonna hold total judgment until I see one. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
pictures I'm really keen on, and then others I'm like, it looks a little dowdy. But I'm gonna hold on it. So
Mm-hmm.
I will say that you're definitely gonna know it's Infinity, because the Infinity label on the back of the car is rather large.
Yeah.
So
Well,
good.
they got to do some advertising.
Yeah, I know, right?
And and I've said this before. Every car, individual car is an ad for that make and model, right?
Right.
And if you make them all look at all trim levels look good, then that is a rolling advertisement for all of those cars.
Mhm.
And I go back to like the Ford Fusion. Like all the Fusions look sharp from the base to the top end. It really it sells the car on when you see it, I'm like, well, those all look good. And there's not one stripper one with the odd colored trim and you know but anyway.
Right.
So well, that would be the a quick look at the Infinity and the Wagoneer EV. um Anything else you want to add, Glenn, about these cars?
I'm excited to see both. As you can see, the SUV language is, predominating the U.S. marketplace. It's the cars that people want right now. It
Yep.
makes me wonder what's going to be the car people want in 20 years. We'll see. But I'm not. I'm not surprised that we've roamed into this territory, nor that Americans like them. They're practical. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, they
Well,
they drive nicely. My dad, who's never driven an SUV for real, loves our little Tucson because it sits up higher. He has a better view
yeah,
of the road.
yeah.
I don't know how much longer he should be driving. He's 90. Outside of the hearing, everything else is good. His eyesight is great. So, you know,
Um, yeah, I think what I think Range Rover and Land Rover should be charging most of these companies for like royalties about their design, because everyone seems to be like stealing some. Like both of these cars we've talked about, these SUVs we've talked about today, have
yeah,
like definite Range Rover, Land Rover. You know, well, we'll take that and we'll take that. Yeah.
sure, sure. But then Land Rover needs to be asking, why are we not selling better in the United States when people keep stealing our design language? That's the topic for another episode.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot to say about Land
there
Rovers.
is. I've always liked the Land Rovers. I've never seriously considered one.
Yeah, I've been in that situation where like I've seen one on a used car lot, I'm like, oh, that looks really good. Then I remember, oh yeah, there's a reason. Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
very expensive to keep running.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. That does it for another episode. Um, Housekeeping stuff. Remember to send in your weird cars that you like that no one else seems to get. You can send it to dstewart@fox61.com. You can like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. That helps us out on the algorithm. You can catch us on YouTube. Just look for Car-Pinionated. You can also we appear every Monday through Friday, every night Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox 61 Plus. And it's part of the streaming app, our streaming app. And we also appear on WGRZ out of Buffalo. I'm not sure what time on their streaming app, but hello to the fine folks in Buffalo.
Hey, Buffalo. Buffalo is a terrific town, by the way.
Yes,
If you've
it
never
is.
been, it is like one of those underrated gems of the United States. And I'm not just saying that because they're airing our show. I'm saying that because it's a really cool town.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been there like 3 or 4 times, and every time I go, I'm always just pleasantly surprised at how much there is to do and how great the people are in Buffalo. So thank you.
Good. And I did not pay him to say that.
Nope. Completely unsponsored. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Good. All right. Then we will see you all next time.
Bye, Buffalo.